Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Cooking for Our Patients with MSK Executive Chef Timothy G. My name is India Lachlan, and I'm a member of the Memorial Sloan Kettering development team. This is the first of 3 webinars in our spring series, so please keep an eye out for the other 2 presentations coming up. Today's webinar will be followed by a brief Q&A featuring questions received in advance. After the presentation, the recording will be available for you to revisit and share online. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Timothy G., Executive Chef at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. Tim has over 15 years of experience in the food service industry. Before arriving at MSK, he worked as an executive chef at Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital in New Brunswick, New Jersey, and St. Peter's University Hospital, also in New Brunswick. Tim completed his education at the Culinary Institute of America, along with an apprenticeship at New York City's Restaurant Daniel. He has been recognized by Food Service Director magazine and the Association for Healthcare Food Service as a talented young leader who brings culinary innovations and excellence to the hospital setting. Today, Tim will give a behind-the-scenes look at MSK's food and nutrition services, which are important elements in patient care. Tim and his team thoughtfully prepare healthful food each day, and he will share the team's process for developing recipes and working with clinicians. Tim will also offer tips and recipes for people who are cooking for loved ones with cancer or who have cancer themselves. Tim, thank you so much for speaking with us today. We're excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for having us here today. I really have a lot to share with you today, and I'm excited because we have a lot of things that happen at the hospital I'm not sure everyone's aware of, and it's a really, really great opportunity to share these things. Let me tell you a little bit about myself before we dive in. I am a graduate of the Culinary Institute of America, and since graduating the Culinary Institute of America, I have spent some time in a couple other industries before joining healthcare. I first started in restaurants in New York City and Atlantic City as well, and then I got into corporate dining with Wegmans Food Markets for a number of years before I jumped into the healthcare setting. Since joining the healthcare setting, the world has been completely changed for me in a very, very good way, because we are changing the perception that hospital food is not good. And we're changing that perception in dynamic ways and leading and driving the industry in everything that we do. I did receive a certified executive chef designation from the American Culinary Federation, and I am a very passionate patient experience advocate. And what does that exactly mean? That means that I advocate on behalf of the patients because our experience here at Memorial Sloan Kettering is all about the patients. Speaking of our patients, we have a very diverse patient population as well as palate. When they're going through their treatments, oftentimes they have changes in their taste receptors. And what does that mean? That means that they taste foods differently. Sometimes they have a metallic taste from the medicines that they're taking, or sometimes they just have a completely off taste, and sometimes they lose their taste completely. This creates many challenges for us, especially when we're trying to make sure that they're eating well, because oftentimes it leads to them struggling with wanting to eat. When everything tastes different, it just becomes harder to want to have your next meal. We also have some other challenges with diet compliance. Because of the different treatments you're on, you may end up having restrictions to things that you can eat. That can be a completely different change in your world, and we are here to work with them each individually on a one-on-one basis to come up with menus and ideas and solutions to make sure that they are eating. The ways we deal with the different metallic tastes is that we actually encourage them using plastic silverware. And by doing so, it will help take away that metallic taste. Sometimes not altogether, but it will help with it. And we also encourage, when the patients are struggling with eating because they don't have a big appetite, that we serve things in smaller portion sizes. When we serve it in a smaller portion size, it gives them the opportunity to not look at an entire plate and be overwhelmed by the fact that I'm not really that hungry and I have this whole plate of food in front of me, but it gives them the opportunity to take small steps working towards eating a complete meal. Besides the different changes they have in their palates and their diets, we also have different diets altogether that some of our patients follow. For example, we have a gluten-free diet, which is very popular, not only for medical reasons, but also for some personal reasons. And we actually created an entire area of our kitchen that is dedicated to gluten-free cooking. And in this area, all the equipment, all the cooking, everything that enters that area does not contain any gluten at all. It gives our patient population just a really nice security in the fact that we're really taking care of their needs and taking those extra steps to make sure that they are not having any cross-contamination in their food. That is often something that is very concerning for patients who are on a gluten-free diet. One other way that we really tackle that whole dynamic of your palate changing and dealing with your different diets that you're on, especially if you're on a cardiac diet, is that we flavor a lot of our food without the use of heavy salts and fats. We focus more so on the Mediterranean diet, which focuses on fresh herbs, spices, and things like that. And by doing so, we really allow the population to enjoy flavorful items without all that extra calories and without that high sodium. This is something that you won't see when you go out to eat in a lot of restaurants because they're very heavy in butters and creams and things like that. But here we know that you don't need to have all those things in your food to make it taste good. To speak a little bit more about our diverse patient population, we serve all ethnicities and religions here at Memorial Sloan Kettering. We serve patients from around the world, and it's not uncommon to have a patient from the Middle East come and request a special meal from their hometown, and we go out of our way to make sure that we do it for them. There is nothing outside of the realm for us. Every single day, my chefs can cook something as basic as macaroni and cheese for a pediatric patient to a stewed Caribbean chicken or an Indian curry dish. At any given day, my kitchen, the way we cook is like the United Nations. Everyone comes together and nothing is out of our realm. We stay in current culinary trends by making sure that we have a pulse on the industry. Being in New York City is a huge advantage for us, and being able to visit all the restaurants and amazing things in the city has helped us to just recreate what we view as healthcare dining. We oftentimes try to lead the trends because, as I tell my team on a daily basis, I want people to write about us and I don't want to read about other people. So on a daily basis, we look to deliver and exceed the expectations of our patients, not only in the food that we deliver to them, but also in their dining experience that they enjoy with us. Nothing is beyond our reach here. It is our goal on a daily basis to say yes. And if we cannot figure something out in the moment, we will go out of our way to figure it out how we can accomplish it in the future for them. I always tell people that it's never a no, it's a maybe, and we'll figure it out, and we deliver that promise on the next meal. Whether that means that we go downtown to pick up a specific ingredient from a local market, or we bring in something fresh from our seafood vendor the next day, we will go out of our way to make sure that they have a pleasurable experience with us. So let's talk a little bit about the patient experience. What does it mean to be a patient here at Memorial Sloan Kettering and have our services delivered to you? Well, unlike some other hospitals, we have a thing called room service style dining. And what that is that when the patient comes into our hospital, they are staying essentially at a fine dining hotel. You receive a menu that also includes seasonal specials in which we change 4 times a year that will stay with the current season and all the ingredients and vegetables and feature things at the peak of their season. The room service style menu is just like staying in a hotel in that you will call down, you'll order your food, and in 45 minutes to an hour, it will be delivered to your room. Why is that important? That question is really easy because when you have tests and when you have nausea or when you have different things going on in your daily routine, the ability to order food when you want to have it and have it delivered when you can eat it is huge. Some other healthcare settings have meal deliveries that have set times. So if you're at a treatment or if you're getting a test done, your food may be just delivered to your room without you even being here. The advantage we have here at Memorial Sloan Kettering is that you define what you would like to have and when you would like to have it. Why is food so important to our patients? To me, that's really simple. When you're at Memorial Sloan Kettering, food is really the only thing that you control. The doctors are going to tell you what medicines you're going to be on. The nurses will tell you when you're going to move and what you're going to do. But you decide when you're going to eat and what you're going to eat. Obviously, all within your diet restrictions. But we make sure that our menus are exciting so you don't even realize you're on a restriction. We focus on the freshest local ingredients here. We have a drive for making sure that we source proteins and vegetables and everything that we do within a local 250-mile radius. During the summertime, we run fresh markets to make sure that we utilize all the beautiful farms we have in our area. We serve antibiotic-free and vegetarian-fed proteins. And that's something that we really led the charge on in New York City, especially in the antibiotic-free and vegetarian-fed proteins. We were actually the first hospital to serve that to their patients exclusively. We serve grass-fed beef because we feel like the commitment to the highest ingredients is really what Memorial Sloan is all about. It's not just about the science and medicine, but it's about everything we do here. We make sure that we deliver excellence. We have cutting-edge dishes and concepts because nothing is out of our realm, and we have the same vendors as every other restaurant in New York City. There's no reason why we can't serve food that's just as good as everybody else, and we make sure that we do that. Beyond the patient experience, we also do different things to help break up the monotony of patients' days. We do demos for patients in one of our patient rec rooms, and this gives our patients the opportunity to step away from their room, come into a different environment that doesn't feel like they're in a hospital, and see some things that are live and interactive that they will not only learn about what they're doing and eating while they're staying with us, but they can also take these things home. While doing these demos, I partner with a dietitian, Tanisha Peets. And together with that partnership, we're able to deliver not only cooking advice, but also clinical advice. We really look to further the experience and make sure that we're helping those people who are struggling with finding new menu items or options to eat while they're with us, and really give them things that they can take home and make easy meals that are not only taste good, but are also very nutritious for them. We provide our patient education and myth busting, which there is a lot of myth busting when it comes to food. For example, we get questions in all the different ranges of oils and what oil should we use to cook with. Should I only exclusively cook with coconut oil? Is canola oil bad for me? Should I never use soy oil? Am I going to have a reaction? And we provide a clarification not only from a dietitian's perspective nutritionally, but also from a cooking perspective. Because not all oils are the same. There are certain oils that you will use for cooking, for example, canola oil or grapeseed oil, but there are certain oils that you use for dressing a salad, for example, olive oil. But I would never suggest to use olive oil to saute something because olive oil has a much lower smoke point, and when it hits that smoke point, it's going to impart a bitter flavor onto your food. So simple things like that that we're able to talk to our patients and just clarify for them, especially as they're navigating their treatment and their care. Some of these myths and questions can be very scary and intimidating for them. We also make sure that we allow the patients to have an escape through the food and allow them to take their culinary experience home. When they're in the hospital, we don't want them to just stay in that hospital bed and worry about what's going on. We want them to feel like they're living their everyday life, and it can be just as exciting as if they were at home. By doing these demos and interacting with our patients like this, we are really able to deliver that experience to them. Sadly, some of our patients are at Memorial Sloan Kettering on the holidays. But again, we step out and we look at what we can do to make that experience memorable. We celebrate things as common as Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, and New Year's, and as uncommon as Dr. Seuss Day on Pediatrics. We try to take these days and really deliver food to them that will bring them the comforts of what they're used to having within their own households, but also offering it to their families that are staying with them during that period of time so that they too can enjoy it in the holiday with their loved one. It's really given us an opportunity to connect on a more personal level with our patients and make sure that they still get to celebrate those special holidays just like everybody else. One of the great things that we have in food nutrition is a dream team for our pediatrics team. And it's one of the prides of my job. About 2 to 3 times a week, I partner with Ashley Krisick, the nutritionist dietitian on Pediatrics, and we visit our patients. We visit the patients that are struggling with eating. We visit the patients who are from all over the world. And what we do during this patient rounding is we enter the room and the world is theirs. Our first question we ask is, if you were at home, is there anything that you would eat? Sometimes we get some good ideas, some other times we don't get some great ideas, but the next question is really the one that takes it home. If you were at home and you can go to any restaurant anywhere and order anything you want, what would you have? That gets some of the greatest responses I've ever heard, and some of the most interesting responses I've ever heard as well. Like I said, nothing is out of our realm, so if you want a peanut butter and jelly with a mac and cheese into it, we can do that as well. But the most common ones are really easy. Although the tough thing for me is that no one's ever going to cook like grandma or mom, and I set that expectation very early. But it gives us an opportunity to brighten their day. To have the chef walk in with the dietitian and cook whatever you would like really creates an experience that's memorable for these patients. Oftentimes we come back and visit the same patient more than once if they're here for a longer extended period of time. And if they do come back for a treatment in the future, the first question that's normally out of their mouth is that they want to see the chef and nutritionist. And we're happy to do so because it's really all about those little kids for us. And we want to make sure that we keep them eating and that we partner with them and their parents as well as their clinicians to really deliver the best care possible for the patients. We also host different nutrition events for the pediatrics team. One of them is just simply switching out healthy snacks with some not so healthy snacks. For example, what we just did this past week was that we did a demo with apples, and we sliced the apples into circles and punched out a hole in the center. And we took those circle apples and we topped it with either 3 different types of yogurts, either strawberry, vanilla, or blueberry yogurt, and then some fresh fruits. And we called them apple donuts. And the kids really loved it. It's taking the time like that and really being creative with the kids to help them eat more nutritionally, but also to make sure they continue to eat while they're going through their treatment. It's nothing that we won't do to make sure that we see the smiles on those little kids' faces. While we're talking about freshness and herbs and the different things that we do for our patients, I want to take a moment to just tell you about a couple things that we do here for on-campus resources. One of those resources is our MSK Cafe Herb Cabinet. For us, quality matters in everything. And for us, when we have more control over the quality, the better. So we went out and we purchased a 2-door multi-zone cabinet that we can grow all of our own fresh herbs in. This was generously provided to us by not only the donors, but also the Society of Memorial Sloan Kettering, and we thank them for that. In this herb cabinet, we were able to grow thyme, cilantro, basil, chervil, parsley, just to name a few. This allows us the opportunity to go out to the cabinet in the morning, cut off some of our fresh herbs, and utilize them in the dishes for the day. Not only in patient dining, but also in retail and catering, because to us it's important to take care of our employees as well. Having that type of quality and freshness really puts us a step above everybody else. Delivering that quality is what we stand for and what we're all about. And the herb cabinet is just one of the exciting ways that we deliver that quality to our patients, visitors, and families. Another great resource that we have that we actually just launched is the Nutrition and Care website. If you are going through treatments or if you know someone, a loved one that is going through treatments, you can visit the mskcc.org website. The link is actually listed right on this page here. And it will take you to our Nutrition and Cancer website page that lists our healthy recipes, diets, and advice. For those of you who are wondering about sugar and cancer, there is actually a great article that is on this website by Dr. Thompson, our president and CEO. In that article, he talks about all the different questions relating to sugar and cancer. It's a great article, and I really encourage you to go onto the website and check out all the things that we have to offer. Just some of the items are listed right before you now. From our cauliflower rice with shrimp to our creamy banana smoothie, some of these items are listed on there for specific reasons. There are 2 categories. One in which you can select the recipes you would like to view based upon your diet, and the other one you can select the recipes you would like to see based upon your symptoms. Now, why did we do that? Because not everyone's cancer treatment or care is the same, and we wanted to deliver the opportunity to go onto our website and not only search for something that would suit your cardiac diet, but also for something that you could find if you're just feeling fatigued and you want to make something really quickly that's nutritious for you and it's going to fill you up. We focus on doing things a little bit different as well. As you can see there, we have what some would relate to as a shrimp stir fry, but instead of using regular rice, we use cauliflower rice. That's just one of the ways that we really look to stay on the popular trends and make sure that we're delivering not only something that's exciting, but also something that's nutritional and it's really going to take care of your needs. The other thing we're looking to offer on this website is snack options. For example, quinoa salad or cauliflower hummus. That's to replace those times that you feel like you want to grab that bag of M&Ms or potato chips. This will give you the opportunity to have something in your fridge that's easy to grab and snack on between those meals. I wanted to talk a little bit about obesity and cancer and some different tips that we suggest to our patient populations in their lifestyle, and some things that are great for you as well at home. The first of which we focus on is eating less meat, fried foods, and charbroiled meats. These include things such as beef, lamb, pork, and you should really focus on having less than 18 ounces per week. Another thing we focus on is avoiding processed meats, such as deli meats, or meats that have been smoked, salted, or cured. This includes sliced turkey, bologna deli meats, bacon, unfortunately ham, and hot dogs. We really focus on encouraging eating mostly fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. The plate method is a great way to do this, and the plate method is actually displayed right there on your screen. Half of the plate is filled up with vegetables. A quarter of the plate is filled up with your starch, and a quarter of the plate is filled up with your protein. And while we're on protein, it's one of the big questions that I have from a lot of our population, as well as people I interact with on a daily basis. How much protein should I have? When I'm eating, oftentimes people serve me steaks that are 12 ounces or 8-ounce burgers or huge pieces of chicken, and I really don't know how much I should eat. What is one portion size if I want to maintain a healthy lifestyle? And that's really simple. If you don't have a scale with you, which most of us don't carry a scale with us on a daily basis, a really great thing to do is just to open up your hand and look at the inside of your palm. Now, if you were to draw a circle on your palm, that's the size of the protein that you should be eating. So if you're out eating somewhere, or if you're at a friend's house or a loved one's house, and they serve you a portion of food, focus on eating the amount of protein that's the same size as your palm. That should keep you right in the amount of ounces that you really should consume in a meal period. Another great thing to do is to make sure that you focus on living an active lifestyle. You can do so by incorporating exercise routine into your life and doing it most days of the week. You can also focus on achieving and maintaining a healthy weight. You can do these things in a couple different ways. Keeping track of your calories and steps on a daily basis. And if you're really struggling with this, I encourage you to see and consult a registered dietitian. The patients have a great opportunity here at Memorial Sloan Kettering to partner with our registered dietitians during their treatment, and they can help them with all these things. And that's not only a resource that's available to our patients here at Memorial Sloan Kettering, but there are registered dietitians all throughout the country. So if you're struggling with one of these things and you need a little bit more advice, I encourage you to seek out their advice because they're the ones that really have all the knowledge. We also focus on a couple of things that are just better for your healthy lifestyle. That includes limiting the amount of alcohol you drink on a weekly and daily basis, protecting yourself from the sun, and avoiding tobaccos altogether. So let's talk organics. Do organics really matter? That's one of the biggest questions I get on a daily basis, and I want to just clear up some of that for you. There has not been enough research to give you a solid answer or guidance in terms of organics, although I can give you some general tips which we focus here on at Memorial Sloan Kettering. Organics are split into two separate categories that are most widely recognized, the Dirty 12 and the Clean 15. What does those categories mean to you? The Dirty 12 are the 12 items that you should focus on buying organics because they'll have higher levels of pesticides and things in them if you don't buy them as organic. The Clean 15 are the 15 items that do not have a very high concentration of pesticides. And so it's not really recommended that you need to buy them as organics. So if you're focusing on saving a few dollars, or you're worried about the costs, or what has the greatest impact, I would focus on the Dirty 12 or the Dirty Dozen, because those things will deliver the best for your dollar. Now that we've talked about all these great recipes and things that we do for our patients, let's focus a little bit more on how we deliver these things to our patients. One of those things is our MSK Gold Star Chef program. Because for us, it's not enough just to hire an employee and put them right to work. We want to make sure that they have the best training and that they really understand what we do here at Memorial Sloan Kettering. So each cook that gets hired by Memorial Sloan Kettering goes through a skills training. This skills training focuses on two different things. Foundational techniques, because these techniques can be applied to any cuisine or recipe all throughout the world, as oftentimes they will be asked to cook from. And we also focus on sanitation training. Because of the patient population that we're dealing with and because they're immunocompromised, sanitation is of the utmost importance to us here. So we make sure that we take the proper time and training and invest it into our employees. Because when we invest into our employees, they invest into our patient population. And that's what we're here for. They focus on three things mainly on a daily basis. Those three things are quality of the food that they deliver to the patients, but also quality of the ingredients and the way that the techniques are prepared. They focus on taste because we want to make sure that things taste good. We don't want to just serve food. We want to make sure that it tastes good and that you want to have the next meal as well. And we focus on health because it's important that we deliver nutritional meals that are going to satisfy our patients as well as help them along in their treatment. The biggest tagline that we live by in the kitchen every day is to be better today than we were yesterday. Because each day we're striving to be better and striving to do more doesn't mean that tomorrow we can relax. Tomorrow we want to be just as aggressive and exceed the expectations that we set yesterday to make sure that we deliver the most amazing experience to our patients. We also focus on innovation not only in the items that we deliver, but also in the things that we do within our kitchen. A large part of our kitchen focuses on sustainability. And in one of these things, we have a biodigester. We don't want to create waste in the food that we make. And the waste that we do create, we don't want to put it into the landfills that are throughout the tri-state area. So we actually purchased a biodigester. And what does this biodigester do? Well, we take our food scraps, for example, the trims from our pineapples that we cut fresh on a daily basis, and we put it into that container that you see right before you. And what that container does is it actually anaerobically digests the food down into just a gray water that will go right down the drain. So we divert the waste stream, and not only does that have a better environmental footprint because we are avoiding the trucks that would then take the waste to the landfill, but it is also a more responsible way to take care of the waste that we do have within the kitchen. Now, a really big question I get asked a lot is exactly how many meals do you cook a day? And what I relate it to most, and what most people can relate it to, is that we essentially are serving a cruise ship on a daily basis. Between the three different sections that we serve, that being patients, retail, and catering, we serve over 5,000 meals a day. Now, what does that mean to you? That means instead of you cooking for your 3 to 5 or 6 people that you have at home, just one person, we're cooking for 5,000 meals. But it just means to have more cooks in the kitchen. We're still doing all the same things that you do at your house. So what do we do beyond our patients? We do nutrition demos for the greater community around us. We do catering and retail for our on-site populations. We have farmers markets during the peak season that our employees and guests can enjoy. We have community outreach events that we do all throughout the area and the greater area as well. We have wellness partnerships that help service all of the population that we have for our employees on site. And we have programs such as the Stopwise program in our retail location that will help guide our employees to make better decisions nutritionally. So that's just a glimpse at what we do here at Memorial Sloan Kettering for our patients. And every day we're looking to do more. It's really a pleasure and an honor to come and serve them on a daily basis. For us, it's just meeting their expectations, and not just meeting them, but it's exceeding them. So I want to just thank you so much for joining us today and learning a little bit more about what we do here for our patients at Memorial Sloan Kettering. We're truly honored to serve our populations, and we look forward to doing so in the future.
Thank you so much, Tim. This has been very interesting. I think it's remarkable how your team is so focused on creating personalized dishes and an experience for every patient and family member who comes through MSK's doors. And obviously that's the way we approach treatment as well. So very cool to hear about how your team is a part of that. During registration, we gave participants the opportunity to ask questions, and we'll be able to get to a few of those today. I also wanted to mention that if you are a patient at Memorial Sloan Kettering and have additional questions about your particular diet, please call our medical nutrition team at 212-639-7312. They will be able to help you with your specific questions. We have time for about 5 of the questions we received, so I'll jump right in with the first one. Should cancer patients incorporate or stay away from certain foods?
That's a great question. One that's often asked to us as well. There is no real foods that you should certainly avoid that you can't have during your treatment, although there might be certain diets you'll be on that will restrict you from having some foods. For us, we always encourage a varied diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. There is also a well-researched link between obesity and an increased risk of certain types of cancers. So specific at-risk patient populations may have stronger recommendations to avoid added sugars and decrease their caloric intakes.
Great. Do you have suggestions about ingredients or supplements that patients can incorporate to boost metabolism or strengthen the immune system and increase energy?
Of course. Any food will give you energy, but the best usable energy will come from eating whole foods. When you eat processed foods, by the time your body digests what we need and excretes the rest, our insulin levels may spike. We might feel fatigued or hungry sooner than we expect. So by focusing on eating whole foods, they'll help you feel full and stronger for longer. We only encourage supplements as a secondary to real food. It's really the goal to keep our patient population eating whole foods. If you can get what you need via regular food, you may not need a supplement at all.
That makes sense. Do you have suggestions about preparing foods for patients who are undergoing chemotherapy or having a hard time eating? I know you mentioned this in regards to what your team does at the hospital, but if you're cooking at home for somebody, what would you recommend?
I would recommend playing with textures, playing with bold flavors, and also with temperatures, and don't ever get discouraged. We find very often that by slightly changing one of these things, food items become much more tolerable. It could be as easy as waiting until a dish cools down, or by using a fan to blow away the strong smells of the kitchen. Playing with those things will help encourage eating, and if at first something doesn't work, try something else, because eventually you'll find something that's going to work for you.
And now everyone is busy and schedules are full. How can someone cook healthful food in a time crunch on a regular basis?
I have 3 great points for that question. The first of which is to always have your staple on hand. A lean protein, veggies, and whole grains should always be available in your home so that you have something that you can put together really easily. You should batch cook if you have the opportunity to do so. If you have a couple hours on a weekend or on a day off, cook enough to have a couple meals throughout the week so that you don't feel that pressure or time crunch during the week. And to always have snackable items available, but to make sure those snackable items are healthy for you, such as fruits or snackable veggies, so that you don't substitute for something that's a high calorie, high sodium, or highly processed.
And then the last question. Hospital food has a reputation for being substandard. At MSK, that's clearly not the case, as we've just heard from you. But how do you think we will make this a nationwide trend, creating healthful, delicious, and personalized food for patients?
That is a great question, and that really goes beyond what we do just here at Memorial Sloan Kettering. We have partnered with hospitals across the nation to speak to that and to help drive that trend. I spoke to it a little bit before about what we did in terms of antibiotic-free meats. And it's through things like that that we partner with other hospitals throughout the nation to have that conversation and to push that industry towards the future. Because if you really look at it, it's not about staying stagnant and just being satisfied in what you do today. We really need to look at the future and how we can better serve our patient populations on a daily basis, not only in New York City or at Memorial Sloan Kettering, but throughout the entire country.
Great. Well, Tim, thank you so much for your time today, and thank you to everyone who joined us. We hope you found this presentation valuable. If you're interested in learning more about the various programs available to patients and caregivers at MSK, we encourage you to keep an eye out for emails and other updates from MSK, as well as our upcoming webinars. Finally, you will receive a follow-up email about this webinar linking you to a survey about your experience. We hope you'll take the time to give us your feedback so that we can continue to bring you useful content. Thank you again for joining us, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you.